before them. Come now, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not listen to one another's language. Accordingly, Jehovah scattered them from there over all the surface of the earth, and they gradually left off building the city. That is why its name was called Babel, because there Jehovah had confused the language of all the earth, and Jehovah had scattered them from there over all the surface of the earth. This is the history of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he became father to Arpachshad 2 years after the deluge. And after his fathering Arpachshad, Shem continued to live 500 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years. Then he became father to Shelah. And after his fathering Shelah, Arpachshad continued to live 403 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years. Then he became father to Eber. And after his fathering Eber, Shelah continued to live 403 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Eber lived on for 34 years. Then he became father to Peleg. And after his fathering Peleg, Eber continued to live 430 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Peleg lived on for 30 years. Then he became father to Reu. And after his fathering Reu, Peleg continued to live 209 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Reu lived on for 32 years. Then he became father to Serug. And after his fathering Serug, Reu continued to live 207 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Serug lived on for 30 years. Then he became father to Nahor. And after his fathering Nahor, Serug continued to live 200 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Nahor lived on for 29 years. Then he became father to Terah. And after his fathering Terah, Nahor continued to live 119 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Terah lived on for 70 years, after which he became father to Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the history of Terah. Terah became father to Abram, Nahor, and Haran, and Haran became father to Lot. Later Haran died while in company with Terah his father in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor proceeded to take wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, while the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and father of Iscah. But Sarai continued to be barren. She had no child. After that, Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, the wife of Abram his son, and they went with him out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. In time, they came to Haran and took up dwelling there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years. Then Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. And Jehovah proceeded to say to Abram, Go your way out of your country and from your relatives and from the house of your father to the country that I shall show you. And I shall make a great nation out of you, and I shall bless you, and I will make your name great. And prove yourself a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and him that calls down evil upon you I shall curse. And all the families of the ground will certainly bless themselves by means of you. At that, Abram went just as Jehovah had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he went out from Haran. So Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot the son of his brother, and all the goods that they had accumulated, and the souls whom they had acquired in Haran. And they got on their way out to go to the land of Canaan. Finally they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram went on through the land as far as the site of Shechem, near the big trees of Moreh. And at that time the Canaanite was in the land. Jehovah now appeared to Abram and said, To your seed I am going to give this land." After that, he built an altar there to Jehovah who had appeared to him. Later he moved from there to the mountainous region to the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. Then he built an altar there to Jehovah, and began to call on the name of Jehovah. Afterward, Abram broke camp, going then from encampment to encampment toward the Negeb.
He broke camp.
Now a famine arose in the land, and Abram made his way down toward Egypt to reside there as an alien, because the famine was severe in the land. And it came about that as soon as he got near to entering Egypt, then he said to Sarai his wife, "Please now, I well know you are a woman beautiful in appearance, so it is bound to happen that the Egyptians will see you and will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will certainly kill me, but you they will preserve alive. Please, say you are my sister, in order that it may go well with me on your account, and my soul will be certain to live due to you." So it happened that as soon as Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians got to see the woman, that she was very beautiful. And the princes of Pharaoh also got to see her, and they began praising her to Pharaoh, so that the woman was taken to the house of Pharaoh. And he treated Abram well on her account, and he came to have sheep and cattle and asses and men servants and maidservants and she-asses and camels. Then Jehovah touched Pharaoh and his household with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. With that, Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She is my sister,' so that I was about to take her as my wife? And now here is your wife. Take her and go." And Pharaoh issued commands to men concerning him, and they went escorting him and his wife, and all that he had. Chapter 13. Following that, Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, to the Negeb. And Abram was heavily stocked with herds and silver and gold. And he made his way from encampment to encampment, out of the Negeb and to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at